Thank you. Thank you, Murali. Any questions from your side? Any questions from your side from the past discussion? If there are a set of questions, so yeah, I'm here to address those questions.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
సార్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ రాయటానికి ఏ
Okay.
మెథడ్ సింపుల్ గా ఉంటుంది సార్? డేటా ఫ్లో మోడలా, ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ లేకపోతే బిహేవియర్ మోడలా?
What is the kind of logic you are working, sir? It is a combinational or sequential, sir? First thing,
కాంబినేషనల్ సార్.
combinational, it is good to go with structural, sir.
స్ట్రక్చరల్.
For combinational, it is good to go with structural. But the thing is, you have to consider the second point also. For me, it is very easy to write the code. Okay. But
Okay.
that easiness is also coming with more number of lines you supposed to write.
ఓకే సార్.
Number of lines are more, but in structural it is easy because by using structural style, you can develop your combinational as big as possible.
ఓకే సార్.
But it is taking suppose if you are writing code in structural, you have to write down a subcomponents code first, then you have to call the subcomponents code into your code, main code. But it is easy. Whereas in data flow, no need to write the code for subcomponents. Directly you can write the code. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
That is primary point, sir. And my important point and second point is easiness only is not a matter of writing code, sir. Your
Okay, sir.
performance parameters are there like delay, area, power dissipation. Based on those things only, you have to work out whether writing code is difficult or easy. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
So if I work hard, that difficultness will be eliminated or avoided. Only thing is I could able to reduce some performance parameters. So betterment means in terms of estimated parameters, sir. That's it. Not in terms of the style of code which is easy for me, which is difficult for me. Because if I feel that that is easy, someone may feel that other style is easy.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay. So that
Okay, sir.
depends on combinational and sequential. And another one is that purely depends on the type of performance parameters you are expecting from the logic. Okay, sir. Thank you.
ఓకే సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Yes. Any more questions from your side? While starting your coding part, it is not necessary to start with complex circuits. You can start with basic gates. You can start with half adders. You can start with full adders, or you can start with even multiplexers, demultiplexer. Yes. Slowly, you just increase your speed and phase. Okay, phase in writing the code. I think that for diploma level students, in order to learn the basics, there is a VLSI textbook called VLSI designed by Das and Das. That book is with only fundamental piece of knowledge in VHDL. Of course, high-end books are there, a lot which will give you complete information, but it is easy for you to digest by referring that book. VLSI designed by Das and Das. Only 20 to 30 pages on VHDL, but very easy. Like half adders, full adders, it will give you information on different styles of coding also. Okay. Anyway, I think I can start with the strength. So there are more than 14 candidates in the lobby except me and my partner, my colleague. Yeah. So yesterday we wind up the session with full adder in the structural. Full adder in the structural. So just let us have the recap on full adder. So to write a code in structural, first thing is you're supposed to have the diagram. in terms of its internal subcomponents also. In terms of its internal subcomponents also. This is my structure. Okay, so as I told, you have to define what are input ports. See, these are input ports, and this S and C are the output ports. Okay, primarily you have to define a list of input ports, list of output ports, and its a nature also. Whether it is a bit type or vector type ports, we have to define. Okay, in addition with input and output ports, there are additional ports also. In structural style only, you have to consider intermediate signals and its name. See here, I'm having 3 intermediate signals. See, my first signal naming as S1, and my second signal naming as S2, and my third signal naming as S3. Okay, everything you supposed to name it. Everything. Okay, everything you supposed to name it. Then even while writing the code in structural, you supposed to name for the instances also. How many instances are there? 5 instances are there. Okay, so instance 1, instance 2, instance 3, instance 4, and instance 5. 5 instances are there. Out of 5 instances, 2 are of same type, 2 are of same type, and 1 is of same type. Okay, there are 3 distinguished instances are there, but 2 of them are repeated twice. Like that, you have to interpret the diagram. Okay, after that you need to call your library. See, whatever the program, whatever the logic in VHDL, you need to write down these 3 lines as a common part. Okay, so after that, you have to call the architecture definition. See here, this is architecture definition, and immediately after architecture, you have to provide the entity architecture name itself. See, architecture and then architecture name of full adder is. Okay. After that, see, I'm defining my entity. Okay. So entity is a keyword. We are not allowed to make a change in that entity. After that, immediately next to your entity, you need to provide the entity name. Here, what is my entity name? Full underscore adder is my entity name. Full underscore adder is my entity name. Okay. And you are not allowed to give the entity name as full space adder. You'll get an error. Okay. Similarly, space full underscore adder. Like that, your entity name should be with as per predefined set of rules. Okay, entity name is. This is a definition. After that, you have to call the port. Okay, inside this port definition, you need to give the list of variables. See how many variables are there? A is there, B is there, Cn is there. Now A comma B comma Cn are said to be input type ports. Okay, I'm taking standard logic type. I told you standard logic type, Boolean type, bit type, whatever the way you can define. If you have the guys, kindly please mute from your side. Yeah, if I'm having idea on the requirement of type of inputs, then I can take std type or bit in type, std type or bit type or boolean type. Boolean means true or false, bit means 0 or 1. Okay, std logic type means it can be u means undefined, it can be x means unknown. Okay, it can be u yet to define. Okay, like that. H, okay, weak one, strong one, like that. There are 8 variations by which you can provide the input. Okay, based on that, you need to define either std logic or bit type or boolean type of data. Okay, similarly, on the right hand side, there are 2 variables. One is yes and the other one is cout. See, yes and cout, out std logic. Okay, so after that, I'm closing the braces and closing with the semicolon. Okay, so now end. Okay, I have to end my entity. Here, my entity opened. And what is the role of entity? Your entity is providing.
ఏంటంటే నా ప్రాబ్లం చెప్పాను, నాకు ఇట్లా పాప ఉంది, నాకు అవ్వదండి రావటానికి. అయితే వాళ్ళు గేట్ ర్యాంక్ వచ్చిన అమ్మాయిని వదులుకోవడం ఎందుకని ఓకే చెప్పారు ఆదిత్య వాళ్ళు. నేనేంటంటే నేను ఫస్ట్ వాళ్ళని అడిగిన తర్వాతే ఆప్షన్ పెట్టాను. వెళ్ళి చూసి కాలేజ్ అక్కడ మా తాతగారు అప్పుడు ప్రిన్సిపల్ గా చేసేవారు. ఈయన అనపతి సత్యనారాయణ గారు. సత్తూరు శ్రీరామూర్తి గారు. ఆయన కాదు అప్పుడు ప్రిన్సిపల్. ఆదిత్య కాలేజ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ గురించి చెప్తున్నా నేను. అవును తెలుసు నాకు. మా అత్తయ్య వాళ్ళ ఇంటి పక్కనే ఇల్లు వాళ్ళ రిలేటివ్స్. మా అత్తయ్య వాళ్ళ ఇంటి పక్కనే ఇల్లు వాళ్ళ రిలేటివ్స్.
Okay, so here I'm opening the entity and here I'm closing the entity. What is the role of entity? Entity is a bit of instruction which is providing the interface between external environment or outside environment with the tool environment. Okay, tool environment. And after that, here I told you how many different types of instances are there. First thing is there are two types of exclusive OR gate. Okay, two types of exclusive OR gates in this. So I have to write the code for exclusive OR gate separately. I have to simulate that exclusive OR gate and I must ensure the functionality of exclusive OR gate. Then only I supposed to call this part. Okay, I supposed to call this part. Okay, so one time exclusive OR gate I am calling, and of course there are two times exclusive OR gate, but one time calling is enough to use. And next component I supposed to call is AND gate. Okay, next component is AND gate, and the next component is OR gate. See here, as there are three different types of instances, but count is 5. 3 times of components I supposed to call. Okay, 3 components I am calling. See, even calling the component also, there is a specific syntax. Component XR2 is. Okay, component XR2 is. In fact, in your separate code, in place of this component, you are with entity XR2 is. Okay. Now, after calling that part to here, in place of entity, you have to write component XR2 is. Okay. And here it might be end that entity. Okay. End that entity. What is that entity? Entity is XR2. Here, end XR2. In place of that XR2, you have to write down end component. Okay. So that is the syntax by which instance can be called. Instance can be called. Instance can be called itself. Okay. Now, so XOR called and OR gate also called. So writing structural code is nothing but instantiation of subcomponent. Okay. And the third component is see and gate. Okay. And here instead of writing XR2, if I wrote like XR, okay, XR, this is not accepted because XR is a keyword. Okay. For that, I suppose to append or add one more character. Okay, XR gate or XR2, something like that, XR21. Okay, you are not allowed to use keywords as the names or identifiers in your VHDL or Verilog codes. Okay, so now definition completed, entity defined, component defined, and all the components required defined. Next task is we have to write down the code. Okay, and see in your architecture again there are 3 components. One is intermediate signal, okay, between XR1 and XR2. Okay, another one is AND gate and OR gate. Another one is AND gate and OR gate. So those things I supposed to declare as signals. See, signal S1, S2 and S3 are also of STD logic. Okay, now I have to write the definition. Now this is the coding part. So far we have finished only definition. Okay, now see U0. What is my U0? Instance, first instance. Okay, so here I'm taking my first U0 as this one. See, where is my U0? This is my U0 is nothing but name of the instance. Okay, name of the instance. What is that? XR2, XR2. Okay, So this XR2 or this part of the component must be same as this part. See, these two must be same. Okay, these two must be same. Otherwise, you will get an error itself. Okay, if it is XR2 as same as this one, then only this part can be mapped with this component. Okay, this part can be mapped with this part. Okay, you see here in your component of XR2, variables are different, D1, D2 and DZ. Okay, but I don't bother about it. I'm only writing my code or instantiation in terms of the current structure with its input and output variables. The current structure with its input and output variables. Okay, see here, and this exclusive OR gate is nothing but having input A and B, and my output is S1. Now A, B, and output S1. And here you need to follow the sequence also. First you have to provide inputs, and at the end only you have to provide the output, or in a sequence of outputs. Okay, sequence is essential. Sequence is essential itself. So after writing my U0, I have to go to U1. Where is my U1? I can take, this is my U1. See, this is my U1. Okay, this is my U1. And for U1, what are my inputs? S1 and second input is Cin. See here, S1 and Cin. Okay, what is my output? S is my output. S is nothing but sum. Okay, so second XR exclusive OR gate definition also over. Port map means there is a mapping between ports of the current structure with the ports of the subcomponent. That is called port map. Okay. S1, Cin and S itself. Clear? Now see here, my third instance U2. My third instance U2. What is my third instance? Here I am taking U2 is my third instance. What are the input variables for this? A comma B. Okay, input variables. And what is output variable? S2. Now you just define A, B input and S2 are outputs. Okay. And here also, as I am calling AND, okay, this A and 2 must be as same as your component and 2. Okay. A and D and here in the component must be same A and D and 2 in the instantiation also. Okay. So by mistake, if you remove your 2 here, then you are getting error. You are getting error itself. Okay. So see here, third time I am also calling, fourth time I am calling second AND gate. Now the instance name I am taking as U3. This is U3. Okay. U0, U1, U2, U3. And what is U3? Again, that is AND gate, but its inputs are different. What is the input? S1 and other input is Cin. Okay, now S1, Cin are the inputs and associated in output is S3. So this is S3. Okay, very clear, very clear. It is easy for you to write down code in structural if and only if you could able to define the relation between each and every sub block in terms of inputs and output variables. So straight away, each and everything is available in that code. Okay, but it is tricky and more number of lines are there. Okay, and I cannot say writing structural code is easy, but logical point of view, writing structurally easy. Okay, logical point of view, because everything I can visualize simply by looking at the code itself. Okay. Then my fourth instance U4. See here, U4. So what is my U4? Final gate. That is the OR gate. 2 input OR gate. What are the inputs? S3 is one of the input and S2 is another input. Now S2, S3 I am writing. Okay. What is its output? C out. Now C out is there. C out is there itself. Okay. So this is the way how you can write code for any given logic by splitting that architecture into different possible subcomponents. Full adder using 2 half adders, full adder using discrete gates, full adder using only NAND gates, full adder using only NOR gates. It's up to you. It's up to you. Okay. And it is not good for you to ask me, sir, which style of architecture is good to proceed. It's you need to write the code in your own possible style and just enter that code in an appropriate Vivado tool, then check it, get the synthesis report, check the associated parameters like delay, area, power, and also write the code in different styles, do the same task, get the parameters. Now you can compare. Okay, you are having two values. Okay, it is easy for you to compare. Okay, so this is about full adder in a structural style. Okay, so and again there is a question to me. Okay, again there is a question to me from participants. Sir, is it good to write code in VHDL or Verilog? Okay, and in previous slide I explained for the full adder to write code in VHDL, but for the same structure, if I want to write code in Verilog, see, done. That's it. Okay, no need to call instance. So in Verilog, there is a principal advantage like all primitives are defined earlier. No need to redefine by the user. Okay. In VHDL, I told you, you have to write a code for exclusive OR gate, AND gate, or NAND gate, something like that. But in Verilog, the definitions for primitives also available, like a buffer. Okay. Buffer or basic gates. All are just like available as a components in library. Okay. Simply you can call, you can use them as many as number of times you require. Okay. Now you see the number of lines required to write code in VHDL and the number of lines required to write in Verilog. Structure is same. Okay, structure is same itself. Now here for this again there is a definition. We will discuss the elements of Verilog code later on. But to compare VH and Verilog, see here this is module and here this is your module name. Immediately after module name, again you have to define input and output variable. Here the sequence is not important here in the module definition, but here you have to write down your output first. Okay, output first. So what is XOR? A keyword. What is XOR? A keyword. What is AND? A keyword. What is AND? A keyword. What is OR? A keyword. Excuse me. Sir, anyone wanted to need any information? Because there is some break. Okay. So see here the structure is exclusive OR gate. First structure is exclusive OR gate. Its inputs are A and B. Output is S1. We already defined. Okay. Now S1 first I am writing. Then AB. Okay. Output first and inputs next. Whereas in VHDL, inputs first and then output. This is the difference between VHDL and Verilog. And another difference is in Verilog, primitives are already defined. No need to write down the code for primitives like basic gates, universal gates, and some type of buffers also. Okay, some type of buffers also. Then I'm not saying that the report from Verilog is good when compared to the report from VHDL, but somehow your Verilog is saving your time. Okay, it is not required for you to write down a code in more number of lines. No need to call you even your library also. I don't know whether you guys notice that point or not. No need to call your library. No need to call your type of library files you supposed to invoke. Okay, inherently each and everything is being available for your application. Okay, so this is full adder in Verilog. Structure is same. Okay, structure is same. And so as earlier, I mean, just like previous, here also you have to describe it ports. Okay, yes, S1, and this is my S2, and this is my S3. Whatever you need to define as your own. Okay, that's about full adder in VHDL, full adder in Verilog in a structural. Okay, in a structural. Now let us go to full adder in So I'm giving a bit lengthy clarification because I was with a question at the beginning, sir, which style is good to proceed? In fact, it's a valid question. Okay, it's a valid question. See here, with this explanation, I hope that the person will get the answer. Okay, to some extent. I'm not saying that complete answer, but to some extent. Okay. Now I wanted to write the code in behavioral. So behavioral means the behavior of the architecture should be known to me. Okay, architecture, diagram, or equation, or truth table. In any way, I can describe the behavior. Okay, it's my skill. Okay, but to write the code in behavioral, I must know the truth table. Definitely, I must know the truth table for the logic to be defined. Okay, I can write the code even if I don't know the architecture. Okay, if I know the truth table, yes, I can write the code. So full adder truth table, everyone is knowing. See here, A, B, C, and S, and C out I'm taking, and carry out I'm taking. So it is with 3 bits of data, 0, 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so there are here I'm calling 0, 0, 0. Okay, so these things I'm calling as a test vectors. See here, these things I'm calling as test vectors. See here, so these things we are calling as test vectors. Okay, sometimes we can also call it stimulus. Okay, sometimes we are calling as excitation. Based on situation, we are just naming it differently. Okay, now, so there are 8 possible cases. There are 8 possible cases with the 3 inputs. Okay, now, so as discussed here, I must start with the library definition for VHDL. Okay, then see, this is the entity definition. Okay, which is exactly same as the one which we represented in the case of structural or data flow. Okay, entity definition is not in a different form. Okay, style to style, your entity definition is not varying. Okay, so far the condition is same. Only difference is earlier you have to concentrate on structure. Now you have to concentrate on truth table. Okay, truth table, and then see. Now I'm just taking a part of my truth table. Okay, I'm taking part of the truth table. What is my first part? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Like that, there are different cases. Okay, now what is my line for VHDL in behavioral? Okay, the way how you are reading your truth table, if A equal to 0, B equal to 0, C equal to 0, then S equal to 0 and C out equal to 0. Same thing you are writing here. See, if A equal to 0 and B equal to 0 and C equal to 0, then S equal to 0 and C out equal to 0. Okay, here truth table is in terms of a number representation, whereas your code is in terms of syntax representation. Same number representing as per the syntax. Okay, there is no difference. The way how you are pronouncing the truth table, exactly similar way you have to represent. Okay, only one thing, it is assignment statement. See here, S less than or equal to 0 is the assignment statement. S gets 0. Okay, S gets 0 and C out gets 0, like that. Else if, here in behavioral style of coding, yes, you can use your coding knowledge. Okay, and there are different types. So you can use your do loop, do while loop, for loop, if else loop. Okay, based on that, you can write a code in behavioral with different looping statements. Okay, based on coding constructs, coding knowledge, you can make your own styles itself. Okay, so first 4 lines. See here, this is my first line. Okay, this is my first line, second line, third line, and the fourth line. Clear? See here, I'm writing else if is one of my instruction. Okay, coding constructor. I can also write ELSE space if. Okay, I'm not going into the code, I mean, knowledge of that syntax. Okay, but there is the other type also. Okay, now I'm taking second part. See here, what is my second part? 100. See here, 100 to I mean, triple one, 1001 0. Okay, to see these three are the inputs, and this is my first output, this is my second output in terms of sum and carry itself. Okay, so if you could able to read this data in the table in similar way, you can write the code. Okay, what I can write? If a equal to 1 and b equal to 1 and c equal to 0, then s equal to 1 and c out equal to 0. So this is the line I can write. See, if a equal to 1, if a equal to 1, b equal to 0 and c equal to 0, then s equal to 1 and c out equal to 0. The way how exactly you are reading the truth table, okay, similar way you can write down your code. Only one small difference is it's a assignment statement, that's it. Okay, so as I am writing ELSIF, I'm just writing only one time end for my if statement. Okay, one time end for my if statement. Okay, so this is about the code in the behavioral style itself. Okay, so here number of lines in your truth table, nothing but those many number of lines that comes into your code, means lengthy code. Okay, lengthy code. Then see, so how can I write code for full adder in Verilog? How can I write code for full adder in Verilog in behavioral style? So this is your module. Okay, keyboard, and full underscore adder is your identifier or module name. Okay, A, B, C in, S and C out are the ports. Okay, input and output ports. Then here, while writing your code in Verilog, you need to define wire type and registers type. Okay, inputs are of wire type, outputs are of registers type. Okay, so this is the additional thing you have to remember for Verilog. Okay, now I'm writing always. Okay, in behavioral, Verilog is with always and VHL is with process. Okay, process. Now again, first part of the table, that is first 4 lines of truth table. Then see again. Okay, if A equal to double equal to is also the assignment declaration. Okay, now second part, declaration. Okay, same number of lines, behavioral. Okay, so mixed style, because I'm facing little bit difficulty with behavioral style because it is taking so many number of lines. Okay, so many number of lines. Okay, so then data flow style is also possible. Okay, but some part of logic, something like if you are writing a code for a computer or ALU, arithmetic blocks are there, logic blocks are there, some data transfer, data path blocks are there. Okay, you have to decide combinational, data flow style of code is good for combinational. Like that, you can decide, and you can also write code for mixed style. Mixed style means part of my code is in data flow, part of my code is in structural, part of my code can be in behavioral. Okay, based on its demand. I'm always ready to go with a style of code which is giving me lesser design constraints. That is the primary target. Okay, and also I supposed to spend as less as possible amount of time only. Okay, so less time means less number of instructions with which I supposed to write the code. I must finish the code. By keeping all those points, you have to try for writing different styles of code. I told you data flow style, behavioral style, structural style, and the fourth one is mixed style. Even in behavioral also, there are different types. Okay, by using loop statements, if loop, if else loop, do while loop. Of course, I cannot say every type of style is possible for each and every logic, but we have to try. We have to try itself. Now, see, okay, again, this is the complete code. You can understand, see here, whenever I'm writing port to map, something like this is a kind of structural style. Okay, port to map instantiation. Okay, port to map instantiation. And whenever I'm writing process, see here, process ABCN, it's a kind of behavioral. Okay, and whenever I'm writing this less than or equal to assignment statement, it is of data flow style. It is of data flow style. Means I could able to incorporate part of the code as a behavioral, part of the code as a structural, part of the code as data flow style. But my overall code is for full adder. My overall code is for full adder. Okay. What is the advantage? By looking at the code part, I cannot say what is the principal advantage. But by looking at the synthesis report, yes, I can highlight. Yes, I can highlight itself. Okay. Now, so this is the code for full adder in behavioral. I mean, data flow style for full adder itself. Okay. Different architecture. It's up to you. Whatever the way you can take the architecture, whatever the style of code you can proceed. Okay. So this is the website by which you can get some assistance. Okay. Lot of coding examples you can get, and your preparation also easy if you are looking your content through this website. Okay. Yes. So for your understanding, I just collected the architecture with the different styles of codes. See, my first style of coding, probably in the data flow style, my delay for the sum is 6.843 and carry is 6. Okay. So you just need to remember these values. Okay. Whenever you are changing your coding style, you're supposed to collect these parameters. Okay. First style, the delay from sum to, sum to Z and the carry to Z. This one is 6.843, 6.816. Okay. So in this total delay, again, you can split logic delay and a net delay. Okay. Logic delay and a net delay. So this logic delay we cannot alter. Okay, this logic delay we cannot alter much, but this net delay I can alter by reducing the wires between number of subcomponents. Wires between number of subcomponents. Okay, so if I change the net delay, then there is a change in the total delay, because I cannot change logic delay, but I could able to change net delay. Then this total delay will change. Okay, reducing the total delay is my target, either through logic delay or net delay. Okay, and if you change your code, your logic delay might be same, but your net delay will differ. Okay, so with the same type of logic, your total on-chip power is 0.997 watt itself. If you need, I can show you the same set of parameters in Vivado tool also. Okay, in a Vivado tool also. Now, see, this is my total on-chip power itself. Okay, so these are the things you're supposed to verify whenever you're working with Vivado tool. Okay, so to verify these things, you guys need to have a license. Okay, license for the Xilinx Vivado. Okay, if you're working with Xilinx ISE, yes, I don't think that you guys are working with Xilinx ISE still, but if any one of you guys are working with Xilinx ISE, please try to note down that irrespective of type of logic you are working, you are simulating, and I think 81 milliwatt is the constant amount of power you are getting. For the logic gate, you are getting same value. Even for counter also, it is giving the same value. Means that it is not allowing you to update the parameters value. In fact, the X power analyzer is not working. Okay. Since 2017, Xilinx ISA is not responding for the design constraints. Okay. Since then, Xilinx Vivado is only active. Okay, by the Xilinx company itself. So yes, I can make some changes to change the power dissipation itself. Okay, so you need to note down a formula for power dissipation. See, P is equal to, there is a standard formula. Okay, P equal to alpha T. This is VDD square. Is a formula. F clock and C load. Okay, C load. So this is the standard formula by which you can monitor the total power dissipation in a digital circuit itself. Alpha T is your switching activity. VDD is the supply voltage with which you are running your chip or logic, and F clock is the clock frequency or operating frequency, and C load is the fan out or fan in characteristics of the logic. Means how many input terminals we are going to connect at the output of my current logic. How many input terminals I'm going to connect at the output terminal of my current logic, that will be defined by a term called C load. Okay. Then in order to reduce your total power component, you need to try for reduction of either alpha T or supply voltage or clock frequency or load capacitance, that is fan out. Okay, fan out. So even your Xilinx Vivado is giving you a scope to get the impact. Okay, so you can make some changes in alpha T, VDD, F clock, C load also. In the tool itself, you can make some changes. Okay, so prototyping. Then with respect to each and every change in the respective parameters, you will observe some change in the corresponding on-chip power, delay, something like that. Okay. See, by this formula, I did some change here. That's why the same full adder, one time it is taking 0.997 watt, and the other time it is taking 8.431 watt. See how much difference is there. Okay, how much difference is there. Now, other style of logic I'm thinking itself. Okay, I'm taking. I think this is in mixed style and this is in a data flow style. Left side architecture is data flow. Right side architecture is mixed style itself. Okay, it is with, see here how many lookup tables are there. LUT means lookup table. Okay, lookup table. Let me erase that. Guys, if you are with any questions, you can proceed. Okay, still I'm delivering myself. I'm explaining myself. If you are with any questions, yes, you are invited. Yes. Okay. Now, for this architecture, guys, please try to understand that whenever there is a change in the architecture, means that change in the architecture is because of change in the coding style. One is data flow, one is behavioral, one is structural, one is mixed, something like that. Okay. Now, so for this style, you just see here. I told you in the code also T1, T2, T3, sum and carry. Okay. Now, if you see sum, what is the delay? 6.827. Okay, total delay. 827 sum. Okay. See here, what is the total delay? 6.843. Okay. I think there is a reduction in this delay itself. Sum is 6.827 and sum is 6.847. Okay. At this point of stage, I cannot say this change is major, but if you are working in such a complex structures, one of the element is this, and you are with a lot of same type of elements for each and every type of subcomponent. If you are changing if you are saving that much amount of delay, then you just imagine overall effective amount of delay. Yes, it will be good. It will be good change. Okay, clear. So whether it is a small change or a big change, but change is a change itself. Okay, towards betterment. Okay, here one point I could observe. The point is, because of change in the coding style, yes, I could able to reduce the amount of delay, total delay. Okay, now see here, what is the logic delay? 3.781. What is the logic delay? 3.781. Save. But where there is a change? 3.046, 3.062 means a net. Okay, so difference in the total delays because of difference in the net delay. It's very clear. It's very clear. Because of changing the coding style, yes, I could able to make some changes in the internal architectures and net components. Net means wire. Okay, by that I could able to enhance or reduce the delay required. What about C out? Here my C out carry is 6.816, and here my C out carry is 7.543. I don't know you guys are clear with the code or not. My code for the full adder in mixed style is C out is with different type of instruction. Okay. Okay. If you change the data flow behavioral something, again it is possible for you to reduce that delay also. Okay. Now coming to on chip power. Okay. Initially, if I run with okay, so initially if I run with see here 0.997 watt and 1.714 watt are the parameters in the same condition. Okay, and so this 8.431 watt and 15.030 watt are in the same condition itself. Okay, same condition means the same parameters as per the equation. Okay, but here there is a red notation. What is this red notation? Okay, this style of code architecture, it is not good to develop in the form of IC with this environment. Okay, so if you are entering into the code, you will understand what is the running environment. There are different conditions like junction temperature. Okay, now, so this is how you are getting total power dissipations also. Okay, on-chip power dissipation. Whenever you are getting red color text in terms of parameters means that environment or that condition is not recommendable. Okay, prototyping. I think every one of you are aware of designing a circuit by using PCB, designing a circuit by using breadboard, designing a circuit by using PSpice. Okay, so I can go with as many as variations if I am designing a circuit in PSpice. PSpice is a software. Okay, I won't get any damage in the software. Whereas if I am designing the circuit in the breadboard trainer, yes, I can place and remove. I can play. Okay, because I'm not soldering, then even there is no much disturbance. Okay, I can easily remove. I can easily place my components. Whereas if I worked out the same circuit with my PCB, okay, in order to get my functional response from the circuit, I must solder it. So if and all any component is disturbed, then I have to remove by placing the desolder it. Okay, so I think you guys have observed that there is some kind of heat at each and every component if we continuously keep on running that circuit. Means components gets damaged. Okay, so to finish even single circuit, I must lose at least one or two components. Okay, in its damaged state. Whereas in software, I can work out 100 and 100 types of circuits, but without a damage itself, physical damage. Here also, so Xilinx Vivado is an environment or platform in which you can run your circuit or logic with all your expected conditions: junction temperature, input voltage, input gates, output gates, 100 number of gates, like that you can increase. Okay, it is giving the information instead of damaged state. Okay, so that is the advantage. So this Xilinx platform is something like designing a circuit in PSpice. Okay, PSpice. Even in PSpice also, if you wanted to go for the variation in the resistance, more than 100 values you can provide. Even diodes also, different types, transistors also different types. Whereas in circuit, it is not possible for me. Okay? Okay. So far we discussed about adder circuit. Okay. And just the part of emphasis on VHDL is okay. Now we will discuss bit deep about Verilog. Okay. Yes. So as an example, I'm taking you mux. For this mux, you have to check what are inputs variables, what are outputs variables. Okay. 2 to 1 mux I'm taking. And this is the behavior of your 2 to 1 mux. Okay. Your expected output is of input 1. Okay. If your selection line is 0 or else input 2. That's it. So this is your behavior. This is your structure of 2 to 1 multiplexer. Okay. And what about its internal structure? This is your internal structure of your 2 to 1 multiplexer. Okay. In 1, into selection line. Okay. So this is general representation we are taking. But while writing code, I don't want to use input and output variables with such a huge length. Okay. I can make some changes also. Now see here. What is the behavior of this architecture? Out equal to in 1 means this one. Okay. If my SEL is 0 means, if SEL 0 means 0, SEL bar will become 1. Okay. Then my in 1 will be transferred to here. In 1 will be transferred to here upon selection is equal to 0. So if it is 0, then here it will be 1. Okay. Now, if it is 1, whatever the input 1 will be transferred to here. Okay. Same thing will be transferred to output. Instead, if it is 0, see here, the 0 is transferred here. And so making this AND gate off, okay, off state, then only this 0 will be propagated to here. Okay. So what I have to explain? So instead of 0, I have to consider 1. If it is 1, then 1 here. If it is 1, then the other input is propagated to next stage. Okay. Into 0 or 1, I don't bother. But now I and 2 will be the propagating component here. Okay. The same thing will be the output. This is the meaning of your instruction. Okay. Now, so with that architecture, with that internal structure, with that behavioral characteristic or equation, now we have to write the code for your 2 to 1 multiplexer. Okay. First thing is I have to digest. Okay. I have to digest some important elements in the Verilog code itself. Okay. Verilog code. Now, if you observe, these are the elements which are required to define for Verilog. These are the elements which are required to define the Verilog. Okay, Verilog itself. Okay, now I told you earlier, this is my module and this part is my module name. Okay, immediately next to my module name, I have to go for the port list. I have to go for the port list. Okay, and you could divide your Verilog module into part 1, which is for module, part 2, which is for parameters declarations or definitions, and part 3, which is for include directives. Okay, include directives, and part 4 is for functionality or body, actual body of your code, and part 5 is nothing but so the connecting word that should come with module is end module. Now see here. Okay, whenever you are defining module, you if you open module, immediately you have to write end module also. Okay, if you are not writing end module, your module definition will not start. Okay, so these are the 5 parts itself. These are the 5 parts. Okay, now so as per this body or structure of this Verilog, I supposed to write down the code. Okay, so to start with the code, first thing is I should be able to represent what are the input and output variables. Okay, see, if you are looking at the structure, it is difficult for you to identify. For that, I am just renaming the names. Okay, see here, input ports I am taking as D1, D0. Okay, and yes. Okay, my S is for selection and data 1, data 0. Okay, so these are the 3 input variables. Now I'm taking like that. Okay, let me erase this. Here. Now see, now my structure is with input variables like D0, D1 and S. Okay, S is my selection, D is my data inputs. Okay, and now my output variable is also output port or Y. Okay, this is. Okay, so this is my Y itself. Why I'm taking ports differently even though ports are existing? So if I'm having ports like in1, in2, data, select, something like that, it is large in text. Okay, every time I'm supposed to type. That's why I'm taking. Okay, so taking different ports is not necessary. That step is not necessary. Okay, not essential. You can go with the same variables also, but only thing is in code, every time you have to write SEL, okay, IN1, IN2, something like that. Okay, but taking D0, which is also representing data. Okay, so like that, by looking into the structure, I must able to represent input variables and output variables like this. Okay, after that, intermediate signals. What are the intermediate signals? See, even in the structure also, there are intermediate signals. What is my first signal? Here, this one, this one, this one. Okay, if it is yes, and output to that NOT gate, I can take as yes bar. Okay, it's your wish. You can take any signals. Okay, it's not essential to take D0, D1s, something like that. As per your knowledge, as per your wish, you can proceed. And your output variable is Y. Okay, so it could be Z or something else you can take. So yes bar, and my second signal is T1. This is my T1 and this is my T2. Okay, like this. S bar, T1 and T2. So with this, I could able to completely describe. I could able to describe completely the multiplexer, 2-to-1 multiplexer. Input defined, output variables defined, intermediate signals also defined. Okay, means the data which is required for your template, I think it is available. I think it is available. Okay, now, so again, you have to decide what is the name of your module. Okay, module name you have to define. Yes, so here for the sake I'm taking my module name as Mux21. Mux21 I'm taking. Okay, now you have to write down the code for this. Now you have to write down the code for this. See, module. Okay, please try to follow the first part of my template, and also my first part of code itself, module. Module is a keyword. Okay, I'm not allowed to make any change in this module. Okay, and mux21 is my own name. I can select. Okay, but here I'm not supposed to start that mux21 as a 21 mux number, numeral representation as a starting character is not allowed. Okay, so as I told you, here sequence of input and output variables not important here. Okay, but generally I can write output variables as first and input variables next. Okay, so my first line of template over. My first line of template over. What is my next line? Port declarations. Now here only ports are listed, but I have to define what is its nature, input ports or output ports. Okay, now I have to define like this. See here, input D0, D1, yes, and output Y. I think I am clear, guys. Very slowly I am going. Okay, very slowly I am going, and each and every part is also discussed in the diagram also, because for one architecture, if you could able to write down the code and you can extend the same knowledge for any number of n number of modules. Okay. Now input ports are D0, D1s, and output port is Y itself. Okay. So as I told you here, your structure is also with the 3 intermediate signals. Okay. Now I have to take wire T1, T2, and S bar or wires, wire type. Okay. Now, see. So what is your first module? What is your first module? Not gate. Okay. That's why I'm writing not. Okay. Not off. And what are its inputs and outputs? So first thing is you have to write down output variables, and next thing is you have to write down input variable or variables. Okay, yes bar and yes. Good. Okay. So first element is over. Okay. What about second element? You can go with this or this. Okay. Now I'm going with the end. Okay. See how easy it is to write down the code in Verilog if I know the structure and its associated input and output variables along with the intermediate signals of the structure. Intermediate signals of that structure. Okay. So this is AND gate. It is with input variables as D1, yes, and output variable T1. Okay. First thing I have to write down output. That's why T1 and D1 and yes. Done. Okay. Now my second component is second AND gate. Okay. So T2, D0 and S bar. So input variable is S bar, D0 and output is T2. So T2 first represented and followed D0 S bar, that is input variables. Okay. My second next component is OR gate. Okay. OR. See here, not and OR. All these are the keywords. Okay. Keywords. So I can use them. Okay. So Y, that is output, T1 and T2, that are input variables. Okay. So this part of your code is nothing but this logic. Okay. And out of this, I can say this one is assignments. Okay. Or functions itself, body of my code. Okay. Body of my code, I can say this is my body of the code. Okay. So what is next? Pending one is this one, end module. Okay. Again, if that is defined, you may ask one question like, sir, what is the meaning of include directives? Okay. Then that include directive is describing me or directing me that the verified parameters are in terms of nanoseconds or picoseconds or microseconds. Okay. So those are the scaling reference. Okay. Such type of instructions are also I can invoke by using that include directives. That is first thing. Second thing is if I want to use part of the code. Okay. And if I wanted to make some part of the code as inactive, and that is also possible by calling some type of instruction like if def, if not def. Such type of things also available. Okay. So that's about your include directives. Okay. Yes, done. Okay. Immediately after finishing your code, your body, you have to write down your end module. Okay. So wherever you open module, you have to close your end module. So this is the way how one can write a code in a Verilog as per the Venu Babu, you are asking me about sir, table values are constant or changeable. Table values are only the behavior in which you are describing. That's it. Okay. It's you need to decide the values. Okay. Whatever the value you are expecting as output with respect to input. Okay. Instead of this table, I can also write down in 1 into 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 also I can write. Okay. But this is the actual meaning. This is the actual meaning. That's it. Okay. And that is one thing. And second thing is, I don't know this CTR Rajavari. I will get recorded session. Yes. Yeah, that's it. I think there are no more questions. Okay. If there are any questions, yes, guys, please. Yes, any questions? Okay. So I think it is clear. I think it is clear to write down the code for this multiplexer. Okay. Now, so code. Yes, I wanted to write code in. Okay, code in same structure but in different style. Verilog code for multiplexer in the data flow style. Okay, Verilog code for 2 to 1 multiplexer in a data flow style. I told you to write code in data flow style. You guys need to remember the equation. Data flows between register to register. In data flow style, you have to address the registers. Okay. So what are registers? Your variables in the registers itself, variables in the equation itself registers. Variables in the equation itself acts as registers. Okay. So you must know the equation instead of architecture as well as internal structures or elements. Okay. See, for the reference I'm taking same template, and now inputs are same D1 D0 S. Okay. Output also same. That is why I am taking. And now how about my intermediate signals? Is it important for me? It's not important for me. Okay, intermediate signals are not important for me. That's why I put them in red color. Okay, now I don't want, even I wanted to know the equation. Here equation is very, very important. Equation is very, very important. What is my equation? Y equal to D0 S bar plus D1 S. This is the equation or characteristic equation of my 2 to 1 multiplexer. Okay. If I don't know this equation, then there is no meaning of writing code in a data flow style. Okay. Now, so I'm just following the template. Okay. Yes. Why I am asking the internal structure? To write your code for particular structure in a data flow style, yes, it is not required to know the internal structure. It is required to define the equation or overall behavior. That's it. Okay. Now, I wanted to follow the template module mux same as, okay. Output, input variables. Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Yeah. So see here, this is one new statement, assign y. Okay. Now this is an operator. Okay. What is the meaning of this operator? Now you see, this is the meaning. Okay. The operator question mark means that the output y becomes equal to the data d1. Okay. Data d1 means if your s is 1, then your d1 gets transferred to y. Okay. If your s is 1, that is s is 2, then your d1 gets transferred to y. Okay. So this is the value into y if your s is 1. Okay. So that is 1. Okay. Otherwise, your d naught will be transferred to y upon s equal to 0. This is the meaning. Okay. Or else, if you don't know how to write this question mark or operator, if you are not having command, you can also directly write the same equation, out less than or equal to in one. Okay. Select bar r into select. That's it. Same equation also, as per the syntax, you can write down. You can write down itself. Okay. So this is a second style of coding for multiplexer, 2-to-1 multiplexer. Then see the same structure I'm taking, okay, but behavioral. Now behavioral. Okay. To write down the code in behavioral, I told you what is important. Truth table is important. Truth table is important. Okay. Now I told you I can also represent my truth table in different way. Okay. Different way. What is the different way? See, this is my truth table. Okay. And also I told one point, that is to write down the code in behavioral style, internal structure not required. Actual artifacts also not required. Truth table is enough. See the truth table here. Now I think I can answer the question like values are constant or variable. I can make some changes. Okay, these are the iterations. I can take d naught d1 as 0 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1. Okay. And for all these values, I can take s equal 0 sometime and s equal to 1 sometime. As per the definition, you need to get y value either d naught or d1. Okay, by the significance of selection line. Okay, now, so taking this truth table into consideration, how you can write a code in a Verilog. See, same input output variables always. Okay, d naught or d1 or yes. Now just start and begin. Yes, sir. If you are writing code in structural, you are with each and every node. Okay, knowledge on each and every corner of the structure. So tracing is easy. Okay, because it's you are writing code in terms of structural. So you know what is the output node, what is the input node, and how many number of internal modules are there. So if you wish, you can replace a subcomponent of your own interest. Okay. So see here, if yes means based on selection lines. So here next to the always here these things I am writing as a sensitivity list. Sensitivity list. Okay. D naught D1 yes are said to be sensitivity list. Based on language constructs, you can also write down your code even by removing these things. You can place star also. Okay, so which is the tool itself can invoke, treat them. Those things are available. Okay, if yes, then write down this line. Okay, y equal to d1 means if s equal to 1, then y equal to d1. Okay, else y equal to d0. That's it. Okay, so this is the behavior. This is the behavior itself. Okay, so if it is not clear to you, please try to trace here. If s equal to 1, then what is transferred? Okay, so based on that, we can write the code. Okay, now see here, another style of coding. I told you guys we can write code in different styles. I'm just taking same structure, fundamental structure of 2 to 1 multiplexer only, and every time I'm keeping template as well as basic architecture. Okay, input output variables also, and now I'm writing code in a structural style. Structural style. Okay, in structural style, I must know the information about each and every or detail about each and every component. Okay, now see same information about my structure, then how I'm writing the code, module and the gate. Okay, so as I told you, I need to write down subcomponent names also. Okay, subcomponent modules also, then only I can call like this. See here, module. Yeah, this is your code itself and module. Okay, you can ask me, sir, earlier we have not used the subcomponent definition, but why now only we are defining? Here I'm not using the primitive properties. Okay, what is my and underscore gate? My and underscore gate is a subcomponent. See here, and underscore gate is my subcomponent. Okay, I defined. If I delete this and, okay, underscore gate, if I delete, yes, I can directly use T1, T1, but that code is not called as structural style itself. Okay, primitive style of coding. There we can call. Okay, now, so this is the style of structural. Okay, so whatever the component I wanted to use in main module, I supposed to define and verify its functional response. Then only I can use. Okay, this is about codes in different styles. Okay, yeah, tomorrow session, so in the from the beginning only I wanted you guys to go through Vivado tool, and later on if it is possible we will work out on what I can say schematic part. Okay, now I think see, yeah, I cleared the second checkpoint with all the explanations also. First checkpoint is optimization. Second checkpoint is writing code in different styles so that we will get the difference in the performance parameters. Okay. Suppose if you take one problem, okay, for single structure or single problem, you can write data flow, structural, behavioral, or mixed also. Okay. The result is one to many, one problem to many styles of coding. One problem to many styles of codes means one problem to many types of RTL structures. Many types of RTL structures means many types of schematics as well as many types of ICs in terms of final solutions. Okay, so with this, I think I can stop. If there are questions, yes. Yes, participants, any questions? Anything you can discuss. Okay, not even questions. Any kind of expectations from this session, or any advices?
లాస్ట్ లో చూసుంటాడు, ఇంకా 9ంటికి వస్తాడు, లేకపోతే వెళ్ళిపోతాడు.
Sir, freshers in diploma or freshers in BTech, sir? Swami, sir?
Sir, for BTech students, sir.
Okay, so you're asking for BTech students.
Yeah, sir.
Do we really have a student who wanted to enter into VLSI sector, sir? Because as far as my experience, many of the students are only looking for jobs into software sector. Even though we are giving some path or channel, I don't think that students are turning into VLSI or some good sectors. Okay, and how many of these students are trying to enter into some public sector like UPSC kind of things? Because for them software is easy and only 5 days work, weekends, yes, a lot of free time. So those are only the things. Okay, but yes, yes, there are chances, sir. If you open like company websites are there, sir, like Bosch, Robert Bosch. If you open that company's website, definitely not only that company, each and every company website is with some a column like a career column. If you are interested, then you just need to open that, and you can upload your resume or CV with the details. Whenever the requirement or criteria matches, he or she will get a call from the people. I mean, some talent acquisition team. With that, there is a line. Okay, each and every company is offering such type of thing itself. Of course, at that point of time, criteria won't match, but later on, if the company is having such type of openings, then they will get some calls also. Students will get calls also. Okay. Website, Stravani ma'am, it's not a single website. There are a huge list of companies like Robert Bosch or Qualcomm. Okay, it's up to you. It's up to you. You just open any company. Even Wipro is also a software company with a VLSI background. Okay, Intel, like a lot of companies are there. Then you just open those companies' website. Every website is with a career field, and you just enter into that career field. You provide your details. At some point of time, you will get a call. And one more suggestion I wanted to give you for BTech students. Neelit Calcut is a platform wherein you can learn your tool, okay, with smooth content and excellent plan itself. Neelit Calcut. All types of tools are there. Okay, it's only it's student interest. Okay, generally outside, other than Neelit, student used to pay like 1,80,000, 2 lakh, something like that. But Neelit is not collecting such a huge amount. It's completely IIT based training institute. Okay, wherein you will get excellent. Sir, as we are in VLSI, we can say VLSI field only. Even other than that VLSI, it's not good to speak about that, sir, because we are not with that level of information to speak about other than VLSI area. I can proudly say that VLSI is good. Okay, even with much more hike when compared to software sectors. I'm sure about it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.